Texas A&M versus Missouri this weekend. Joe, could be a playoff eliminator for the Missouri Tigers, but A&M continues to roll here, trying to get themselves into the month of November and push through to get to Atlanta for the first time in the SEC. When you preview this game, how do you see it going down? And by the way, are you shocked at this line that's out there on FanDuel between both of these teams?
Yeah, the line is relatively close. Texas A&M is only a 7.5-point favorite on the road, going up against.
This morning it was 5.5. This morning
it's been moving.
Yeah,
I just plugged this in like 20 minutes ago, so that's current. Must be moving in the direction of Texas A&M. Going up against Matt Zollers, I don't really feel like we know what to expect from this Missouri team. But what we do know coming into this matchup is that Texas A&M is an incredibly hot team. Explosive offense, physical defense, elite pass rusher and Cassius Howell, who's unblockable right now for any opposing offensive line. Here's the one thing that I want to bring up to start this conversation as we're dissecting where the strengths lie between these two teams. This is Texas A&M's third game in a row where they're on the road. Now, they had a bye week in between, but it is their third game in a row on the road. I believe teams in such situations where they've had back-to-back road games in the SEC this year, they're 5-6 when playing in that second game in that circumstance. A&M, again, its third consecutive game on the road. No other SEC team has faced 3 consecutive road games this season, even with the bye week. So I think that that's an important discussion point. I'm not saying it sets up for the A&M upset, but this game could end up being a lot closer than people anticipate because of the fact and the challenges that A&M has had having to travel this much recently.
I understand that. I do think the bye helps and re-energizes them in all of this. But if Missouri is going to do, and I'm going to say this, I don't think it's unthinkable that they can beat A&M. I don't think it's unattainable because it's not. However, Joe, I'm going to have to see this Zollers kid go in there and play, and I'm going to have to see them control the line of scrimmage. Now, we have seen moments and times for A&M this season where their run defense has not been great. Like, for example, in the first half versus LSU, Joe, they were allowing over 7.9 yards per carry. So let's just call it 8 yards per carry in the first half versus LSU. Now, they shot themselves in the foot. They had a couple of turnovers, yada, yada, yada. This is not a team that your run defense can be sloppy in. Now, I know that they're ranked 33rd in the country in run defense from a yardage standpoint, but the bottom line remains is that LSU does not have a good offensive line. They have not been able to run the ball. And the last time we saw you had the number one running back in the country who was a true freshman this year in Harlem Berry, had over 7 yards of carry in the first half. And if you let Ahamad Hardy with Zollers or not, and you let that and Roberts and that run game get going, they're going to control the clock and they're going to be right there with you. My question in that is, though, when they need to drop back to pass and they need to make the throws that they need to make to beat a good team like Texas A&M, maybe the best team in the SEC, can Zollers do it? And I hate when we come out here and say, it's all relied on this kid. It's all relied on this. You better suffocate that time of possession and give him very, very short, very quick throws here, because I don't know how else you do it. I don't know if I haven't seen enough from the kid to know what he can deliver here. He might be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC for all we know. I don't know that. Here's what I do know. Mike Elko ain't the dude to go up against on third down when you're a true freshman quarterback. He's just not. So it's not the impossible here. But if you have a shot, if you're Missouri, Ahamad Hardy right, Roberts left, jet sweep Coleman, and then hit a couple of quick passes with Zollers. That's what you're going to have to do. And you're going to have to do what LSU did in the first half while they led at halftime. Joe, you got to suffocate that time of possession against them. You got to let Marcel Reed and Craver and Concepcion, and if Moss is going to work his way back from health and get in there, Reuben Owens, whoever is going to be at running back, that offensive line, what's Chase Basantis' status? Seems like he might be okay to go. You got the best offense or best defense this week is to keep them dudes on the sidelines. That is it. I don't know if they're going to be able to make the throws that they need to make to be able to overcome this one would be my biggest concern. It is my biggest concern if I were from them for their point of view.
Yeah, number one challenge ultimately for any team going up against Texas A&M. Can you keep up?
Yes. Well, staying on the field on third down. Joe, the reason, go look at, you have the EPA stuff. Yeah. They're number one on third down defensively. They're only allowing teams to complete 22% of their third downs. Now, I don't know what the EPA on that is, but Joe, teams are getting boat raced because they can't stay on the field.
They're number 3 in the country in third down success rate. So they're tremendous at preventing teams from producing successful plays on third down. That, I think, is one of the most dangerous areas. And I think you just painted here where the biggest ultimate challenge comes for Missouri is that you're throwing out Matt Zollers. And I think a lot of people who watched the end of the Missouri-Vanderbilt game saw a really promising true freshman in Matt Zollers. For those that paid attention in recruiting circles over the past couple of years knew Zollers was a guy that had a chance to turn into a real star. And I think that we got a real early glimpse of that. The problem is, though, now was the fact that he was able to make some plays, the simple circumstance of Vanderbilt having no film on him and no expectation of what he was going to do, and they weren't prepared to deal with him because he's a completely different player than Prebula. Mm-hmm. Or is the kid really just that good and he's going to be a spark that this team needs? I think it was Trotter. I was reading a quote how he said that when Zollers came to the game and he was throwing his body on the line, he was fighting the way that he was, the whole team got locked in and they got super excited and energized. So maybe that's some energy for them that helps them in this game. One thing that was really interesting, Blake, is that they, so far at the start of the season, they averaged 45.2 points per game. And then in the middle third of the year, they were only averaging 17. So there was a regression and there's a chance for a spark.
They played Bama, they played Vandy.
Right. They struggled when they were challenged, and now there's maybe a shot for them to recapture a little bit of a spark with Zoller stepping into the mix. The issue ultimately comes down to the fact that you're facing off with a very elite pass rush. Mm-hmm. Hayes, and of course, one of my favorite players in the sport, Cassius Howell, very formidable duo. The whole front seven's fast. It's physical. Howell's got 9.5 sacks, 10.5 tackles for loss. This team is 32 sacks on the year. They are not letting anybody rest. They are making every single play chaotic. And that to me is just, to be quite frank, it's an insurmountable situation for a true freshman, even if you're at home. Going up against the pass rush that good, Blake, that's pretty daunting.
He needs to quickly learn not to be Jackson Arnold and Garrett Nussmeier. Because
it's make it sound simple.
A third of the sacks come against those two. So yeah. I got to say this, though. What's really interesting to me about A&M this week, because, Joe, I have said this, I think they're the most explosive offense in the country. I don't like saying this verbiage. I don't want to say it's not close because Ohio State does exist. I do think it's very close. They do a lot of things very well offensively. Their offensive line is extremely physical. However, here's the God's honest truth. This is the best defense you've seen all year if you're A&M. That front seven for Missouri is nasty. You're talking about a top 5 defense in the country, top 15 in run defense, only allowing 90 yards per game. They're 7th in the country in their secondary. And, Joe, we think that there's a lot of holes there. Well, the problem is that they just keep performing at an elite level. Joe, they're 5th in the country on third down. They're tied for 13th in the country in scoring defense. This defense has got some real playmakers on it. Got to be real with you. I think that this is going to really show. And if A&M goes in there and blows them out, it's going to really show how massive of a contender they are because this defense is legit. They are very legit. They tackle well in space. Joe, look at all the problems they gave Ty Simpson. They made Ty Simpson's life a living hell. And I look at A&M, they just beat you and can beat you in so many ways. I know that this secondary is 7th in the country in passing yards allowed. I think that there's a lot of holes there. If Lenore Sellers can dot them up, I think that you can dot them up. No one's really physically been able to challenge them, though, in the secondary because, Joe, the defensive ends and the edge rush for not only A&M, but Missouri is really good. And these tackles for A&M is going to have to hold up. The thing here, though, I just think that A&M's too much. I think they have way too much explosiveness. I think that they're going to be able to get vertical as the game goes on here. Concepcion, Craver, and the entire team, they're just so good. And Joe, I got to be real with you, being able to see Colin Klein up close and personal this year, I don't think people understand how good of a play caller he is. I think he is and should be the Broyles Award winner, in my humble opinion, for how good that they've played. I think it's just going to be too much because I don't know if there's a team in the SEC not named Alabama right now that can keep up with them if need be. And Zollers is going to have to show. And listen, he very well can. This kid can. We saw a lot of talented and big throws from him. I just cannot trust and don't trust that he's going to be able to make the throws that he needs to on third down to be able to keep those chains moving. Again, nobody's figured it out. Nobody. I mean, the only team, and when you go look at A&M, the only team that figured it out on third down was Notre Dame. But what did Notre Dame do? Sweep left, sweep right. They got to the perimeter. And I think that they just grown so much defensively that ever since that Notre Dame game, they've been able to get away from things that don't work for them on defense. And Elko's been sending the pressure. I mean, Joe, the stunts that they have done up front, I don't know, quite honestly, how you block with 5. I don't, because they've been really good in their secondary. Here's the thing I will say about A&M, though. If this Zollers kid can perform and do some good things, Joe, this secondary's got some leaks in it if for A&M. They got leaks in it. I look, this LSU team's not great. They got leaks. So if he can find some quick hitters and let the playmakers make plays, they could be a little bit closer here. But, man, I just think A&M is going to be way too much.
I do agree with that. I think that A&M is going to have this game in full control. I think that this is another opportunity for them to continue to prove that they are a very legit SEC title threat and that they're a very legit threat to even make a run towards a national championship this season. One thing I want to bring up, though, that we haven't really discussed, to give Missouri's defense a lot of credit.
Very good.
In the last couple of games where they matched up with offenses that statistically were some of the best in the country. I'm looking at the Alabama game. I'm looking at the Vanderbilt game. They lost those games. They didn't lose those games because of their defense. They lost those games because Pabula struggled. The run game couldn't get going to the same degree, and they couldn't produce successful plays when they needed it the most. It had nothing to do with their defense. So part of me wonders, how effective and how impactful can this Missouri front be in this game? They have a real challenge with this Texas A&M offensive line. They've only allowed 7 sacks on the year. Zion Young and Damon Wilson are getting a lot of buzz for the upcoming draft as potential first-round picks, at least top 50 picks in the upcoming draft. I think that those two guys, their linebacker room's pretty talented. I agree with you at corner. It's not great. They've given up some pretty big plays, and this could be a real tricky spot for them trying to keep up with Concepcion and Craver. But I think that for some of these small little details, there's a world where Missouri probably doesn't win, but this game ends up being closer than we anticipate for the fact that A&M's been on the road as much as they have, and also for Missouri's really underrated defensive front that has challenged people more than many people have expected them to.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, again, I do think this is the best defense that they've gone up against.
That A&M is the hardest defense. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's, again, I don't like using this verbiage. I don't think it's close. I mean, Joe, again.
No, it's not a hot take. I don't think you're saying anything inappropriate.
Well, it's not even a take at the current moment. I mean, I got to be real with you. Name the other.
Definitely wasn't Notre Dame's. Let me pull up.
It's not Notre Dame's, and you know who what else isn't? It's not Bama. Or are they not A&M? I'm thinking of Missouri versus Bama. But A&M, I mean, Auburn.
LSU, Auburn, better defense than LSU, so probably Auburn.
Maybe Auburn.
And they only scored 16 points in that game. And we're not trying to use this as a case why this isn't us saying A&M's overrated.
Yeah, and A&M had like 100 yards of penalties, 130 yards, whatever it was in penalties. I mean, listen, I get it, but this is what I think happens. Okay, people are like, for an example, have you seen all the Georgia hate today, this morning, about, they only beat Florida by 4? And I'm like,
that was some dumb shit. People who don't know anything about the history of that rivalry or any of that stuff. That was wild narrative that was being pushed today. It's like, were you guys paying it? Has anyone paid attention to college football in the last?
I mean, I'm not trying to be rude. Florida's not a great team.
They have NFL dudes all over that defense,
all over the place, and so it is what it is. All right.